So when you think about skilled migration to Australia, I bet your mind probably jumps straight to places like Sydney, Melbourne, or maybe Brisbane, right? But what if I told you that by only focusing on those eastern states, you could be missing out on some of the smartest, most strategic pathways into the country? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the unique advantages of 4 states and territories that are often overlooked.
Okay, take a look at this number right here, 3,400. So what's this all about? Well, it's the number of state nomination spots given to a major Australian state for the upcoming program year. But which one do you think it is? I have a feeling the answer is going to surprise you.
That's right. Those 3,400 places, they belong to Western Australia. That puts WA on the exact same footing as the incredibly popular state of Victoria. And that, right there, is the whole point of what we're talking about today. There is huge opportunity west and south of those big city hubs, but only if you know where to look and, more importantly, how their unique systems actually work.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a quick look at the big idea, the core philosophy behind each of these 4 programs. Then, we'll get practical and match specific jobs to the best state strategy. After that, I've got a crucial warning for you about the hidden filters you won't find on any official website. And finally, we'll lay out your next steps so you can build a winning strategy.
All right, let's dive in. You got to understand that these states aren't just looking for skilled people in general. They're looking for the right skilled people, the ones who perfectly fit their specific economic goals. And each one has a totally different way of finding them.
First up, we've got Western Australia. Now, WA runs on what's called an industry priority system. What that means is, it's not just about who has the most points. Nope. They literally rank people based on what the state needs most. So, if you're in a top-tier sector, like construction or healthcare, you get to jump right to the front of the line. They might even waive big requirements, like needing a job contract just for you.
Okay, now let's jump all the way over to Tasmania, because they have a completely different approach. You could call it an income and retention model. And what's so fascinating here is that they care way less about your specific job title and much more about how much you can earn. If you can show them you're making a good, stable salary and contributing to the economy, you're exactly the person they want.
Next up, the Australian Capital Territory, or the ACT. Now listen closely to this part. They run their own unique system called the Canberra Matrix. This is so important. Your federal immigration points are one thing, but to get an invitation here, you need a high score on their local matrix. And that matrix heavily, and I mean heavily, rewards you for how long you've already been living and working right there in Canberra.
And finally, we have the Northern Territory. Their entire pathway is built around one single idea: long-term commitment. They're looking for people who are genuinely serious about putting down roots, buying a home, and really building a life in the territory. And to prove it, they require the single longest post-visa residency commitment of any state or territory in Australia.
Okay, so we've seen the 4 different philosophies. Now for the really practical part. Which one of these pathways is the smartest move for your specific career? Let's break it down by profession. All right, if you're a tradesperson or work in construction, you need to be looking at Western Australia. Seriously, you are their absolute #1 priority. They will put you at the top of the list, and, most importantly, they waive that pesky job contract requirement. It is the path of least resistance, hands down. The NT is also a really strong option, but you have to be ready for that 3-year commitment.
Now, for all the health professionals out there, you're in demand pretty much everywhere, but 2 places really stand out. WA, again, lists you as a top priority and waives the job contract. But check out Tasmania. They offer what they call a gold pass for healthcare workers. If you have a qualifying job, you get an instant, guaranteed invitation. It's like a VIP ticket that lets you skip the entire line.
So what if you're in IT, or especially cybersecurity? The clear winner, no contest, is the ACT. Their whole strategy is about building up the capital economy, which means they're actively hunting for tech talent to support the federal government and all the companies that work with it. Sure, you're on the list in WA, but you're just not the main event, like a builder or a nurse is.
All right, we've gone over the official strategies. But to really give yourself a shot, you have to understand the unwritten rules, the secret handshakes, the hidden barriers that each state uses to filter people and manage their numbers. This is the stuff they don't always advertise on the front page of their website.
So in Western Australia, for almost everyone who isn't in health or construction, you run into the contract barrier. They require you to have a 6-month, full-time job contract already signed.
What this does is it puts all the pressure on you, the applicant, to somehow find and secure a job from overseas, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly tough.
Over in Tasmania, it's all about the income threshold. They have a pretty strict minimum salary you have to meet, around $57,000. And here's the key, that's your base salary. It doesn't include any overtime, allowances, or bonuses. It's their really effective way of making sure you're a strong economic contributor and filtering out anyone who might be underemployed.
Now, the ACT has something I call the residency score trap. This quote here says it all. Their point system favors time spent in Canberra so much that a long-term resident in a lower-skilled job can easily get more points than a highly skilled professional who just moved there. Basically, how long you've been in the city can be more valuable than your PhD.
And for the Northern Territory, the screening mechanism is the commitment itself. This number says everything you need to know. 3 years. That's how long they require you to commit to living there after your visa is granted. It's the longest in all of Australia, and it's their ultimate test to see if you're truly serious about staying.
So after taking in all this information, the different state philosophies, the best jobs for each one, and those hidden barriers, how do you actually move forward? Okay, let's shift from just analyzing this to taking action. Here are the concrete steps to get your application ready.
Here are the 5 essentials. 1. Calculate your federal points. You have to meet that minimum threshold. 2. Double-check that your job is actually on the target list for the state you're aiming for. 3. Get your official skills assessment done. 4. Think hard about the residency rules. Sometimes moving to the state before you apply can be a game changer. And number 5, get all your documents ready in advance. For a state like the ACT, they only give you 14 days to apply after you're invited, so you have to be ready to hit send immediately.
And that really brings us to the final, most important question. After seeing how these very different systems work, which one of these hidden paths is the right one for you? Is it the industry-first approach of WA, the income model of Tasmania, the residency is king system in the ACT, or the long-term commitment demanded by the NT? Look, figuring all of this out isn't easy. Choosing between WA, Tasmania, the ACT, and the NT really requires a careful look at your job, your experience, and your long-term goals. If you'd like some expert help navigating these options, the registered agents at First Migration Service Center specialize in exactly these kinds of skilled visa pathways. We invite you to fill out their free visa assessment form so they can give you tailored advice on which state nomination strategy is truly the best one for you.